So what's the last topic?
Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey. All right. Oh wait, we didn't do which three
Oh
again?
no! Hey! Screw
Oh,
Jalen Ramsey. Let's hit it up. Melvin Gordon. Breaking news: Melvin Gordon's ending his holdout. Let's hit with that first and get that out as quickly as possible. Let's get the jump on it.
yes. All right. Fucking love it. Welcome to the as of yet unnamed Football Absurdity TV NFL football show thing that I don't have a name for yet on our Football Absurdity channel. Joining me as always is Brandon Andreessen of the Fancy Boys Club. Brandon, thank you for joining me.
As always,
I'm Waleed Ismail, and there's only one thing we can talk about right now because it just broke. Melvin Gordon reporting to camp, or to the chart, not camp because training camp ended weeks ago, reporting to the Chargers facility tomorrow, according to Ian Rappaport. I checked, there was a blue check mark next to his name, so it looks like Melvin Gordon has caved. Brandon, what do you think?
that's exactly what happened. Melvin Gordon caved. I think going into this, everybody knew that Melvin Gordon had absolutely no leverage. He wasn't Ezekiel Elliott. He's not the best running back in football. He's a very good running back, one of the top five or 10 running backs in football. Definitely not the best. He didn't have a ton of leverage.
Also not Le'Veon. Also not Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon
Correct.
Bell was technically not under contract, so he had the option of just not showing up. So
And Melvin Gordon, he wanted a long-term deal. He was playing hard for a long-term deal. He's an unrestricted free agent after this year. At the end of the day, though, if you're making $0 and you're watching a team try and function without you, uh, that's exactly what it is. Like, I see it as caving. What do you think?
he definitely. I don't know that he caved because what were his options? I mean, if he sits out till week 10, I'm sure he gets a contract, but I also think there's a part of him that does want, like, he sees the Chargers are 1-2 right now. They have a legitimate playoff or championship window right now. Like, Rivers is not going to get any younger. And fact of the matter is, Ekeler hasn't looked that bad since he's been gone. But you want to go in there. I think you want to go in there because he still plays with those guys. I think that's got to play a role.
Well, Austin Eckler's played well. He's averaging about 4.2 yards a rush, but he's averaging a hair under 13 rushes per game. Justin Jackson is picking up the slack a little bit, averaging 6 rushes a game. Where the problem and Eckler's been great out of the backfield. He's got 19 receptions, averaging over 6 receptions a game so far. The problem is they aren't bell tower backs. They aren't power backs. They aren't backs that can move the field in such a way that takes the pressure off Phillip Rivers. The offense works better with Melvin Gordon on the field. And I think the Chargers absolutely knew that. The Chargers are 1-2, and the Chargers have to be psyched right now that Melvin Gordon is coming back, and they didn't have to give him a new contract. That's a great thing for a Chargers team right now that has three defensive backs on injured reserve already. Another one injured. They are crippled up and down their defense right now, and so they are going to have to win a lot of shootouts. And Melvin Gordon was the key to that.
So here's my question. I feel like there has to be some kind of agreement in place that they're not going to franchise him because you have, like, do we think the Chargers have to have done something? Because just coming back, waiting till week 10 is an option. I wonder, is there anything coming? Like, because they said they weren't going to negotiate a contract, and frankly, I don't know if I'm Melvin Gordon that I can trust the Chargers to negotiate a fair contract. Historically, they want to screw their players over as much as possible. I mean, that's why Bosa held out for a long time. Who was the guy? Was it LT? He held out before signing his camp too. They always want to add little caveats to those contracts that'll just screw players over and basically aren't in line with other NFL teams. Like the Spanos,
Not at all.
they're cheap. They're cheap. They're a cheap organization. They've proven it time and time again.
And they have no fans, but that's kind of beside the point.
Partly because they're cheap.
The other part about this could very well be maybe Melvin Gordon just looked at it and realizes that he's losing money on this. So far between lost game pay and loss and fines that he incurred by not showing up to training camp. He's lost out or been fined a total of $989,000 right now. That's based on a contract right now that if he had come into the camp and he played out as a last year's deal, was worth $4.945 million. I assumed he'll get a prorated part of that deal, so he's still probably looking at getting around $4 million to play the final, 13 games of the season, which isn't anything to shake your head at. It's good money. It's not at the top end of what running backs are making. He's going to enter the free agent market at the end of this year, and I can't under any circumstance see him staying with the Chargers. But there's going to be a football team, maybe one still also in California called the 49ers, that could look for some stability at running back and would be interested in bringing a guy like him. But it could have just turned into a bird in the hand situation. I return now. I cut my losses a little bit. I make some money this year. I try not to get injured, and then I hit the market next year.
I want to say the reason I don't see him, if he goes to the 49ers, all that's going to happen is he's going to get hurt. I think that's what we've seen. Jerick McKinnon, Tevin Coleman. I think if you're starting running back in the 49ers, you're going to spend some time on injured reserve. That's just how it works. So for his own health, physical and mental, I hope that he does not go to San Francisco. Sorry, Jeff Crisco.
Where do you think he would go then? What options do you think he has coming into free agency with
I feel like the more likely place that he ends up is back on the Chargers, because I think nothing will, assuming there is a deal in place that they won't franchise him, I can't see anyone valuing him more.
It could very well be a team that we're looking at right now that's absolutely like someone like the Dolphins, who are going to have endless amount of cap space and are going to basically just say, all right, well, let's say Dolphins go 0-16 this year, like I expect them to. They go and they draft the top quarterback. They're going to want a veteran running back in the backfield that's going to be able to protect him from blocking. It would make sense for them to give Melvin Gordon $16 million.
That would make sense, actually.
It would make sense for a team like the Washington Redskins, who are historically known to just burn money on free agents, and they don't care who they give it to, but they'll give as much of it as they can. That seems like a landing spot. Adrian Peterson's wearing out his time there. Darius Geis went down with a second season-ending injury. Yeah. Chris Thompson is nothing more than a change of pace back there, so he might be an option there. You look around the league, and spots might open up for him. Who knows? Maybe the Chris Carson fumbling thing becomes so much that Seattle at the end of the year decides they're going to invest in a running back situation. I think there are some outs there. I don't see the Chargers being one of them, though.
Well, time will tell. God knows you were right about Jameis Winston, so you're probably right about this too.
Moving forward, though, what impact does this have on the Charger season?
It's got to help them. The fact of the matter is, the AFC is still not that scary a division. Obviously, Kansas City is the cream of the crop. I would put the Baltimore Ravens and New England Patriots right on that tier. Actually, the Patriots might be better than the Chiefs, unfortunately. That defense is legit this year. Then again, who have they played? So I don't know. But, there's three clear teams that are above everyone else. The rest of that, there's two wild card spots, and the Chargers are in the mix for one of them.
And the nice thing about this is the Chargers have a chance to go on a run here, and they have a chance because they're playing a practice game this week against the Dolphins. Oh. And after that, so they can Melvin Gordon. Dude, I wouldn't play him this week. Get him back going.
They already said he's not playing this week. It'll be next week. It'll be his first week back.
And then next week they're playing the Broncos. Okay, Broncos are 0-3. They're kind of a rudderless ship too. After that, they have the Steelers, who are 0-3 and look terrible in all facets of the ball. After that, they have the Titans, who literally they look like a team that is completely lost because they don't have a functional quarterback, and if you take away their running game, they don't know how to play football. So the Chargers have a chance right now to rip off 4 straight wins and slowly integrate him back in until they have back-to-back weeks. At the end of October, they have the Bears. They have the Bears in Chicago, and they have the Packers at home. That's going to be – they could very easily be sitting at 5-2 going into those games with a Melvin Gordon up to full speed at that point. Yeah. This could still very well be the – I have this as the number one wild card. Them as the number one wild card team going into the season. There's no other There's no playoff teams coming out of the AFC North beyond the Ravens. I don't have any faith in the Browns anymore.
No.
They look like a mess. The Steelers are terrible. The Bengals are abysmal.
They're the Bengals.
And then in the South,
AFC, I was going to go. South. I mean, it's all a bunch of mediocrity. Indy could still do something. I mean, Houston's probably the team that comes out of there just because they're the most talented right now. But I still
think Houston is Indy is the best coach team, and it's possible that it could be Houston and Indy coming out of there. That could be one of the wild card spots.
And I'm going to actually take this moment, since we're talking about Indy, to apologize to the person who said that we were wrong about saying Jacoby Brissett was terrible, because 3 games.
Yeah, no,
he's proven me wrong. He looks legit. So
he looks very comfortable with that offense, but I will say this, that offense stalled out and that offense struggled to move the ball last week when T.Y. Hilton was out of the game.
Well, that's because he's their best receiver and their number 2 receiver. Although I do like who's the rookie?
Paris Campbell.
Paris Campbell. I like his chances developing as the year goes on, but he's still just a rookie, and you can't have him be your number 1.
But if you look throughout the AFC, you can mark off the Raiders. The Raiders look terrible. They had the Hard Knocks bump where people started to believe in them, because any football team is going to look good when you take thousands of hours of TV footage and whittle it down to 6 single-hour episodes. The Denver Broncos are a very bad football team. The Dolphins are terrible. The Jets are terrible. It's basically
the Bills are 3-0, right? But they're a paper giants.
Exactly, and they're just barely finding ways to win this game. Right now, there's only 17. If you look at the AFC, realistically, there are only 7 teams in the AFC playing for 6 playoff spots right now, and we're only 3 weeks into the season. There's a chance people can jump up, but right now, it very obviously looks like the Ravens are going to win the North, the Chiefs are going to win the West, and the Patriots are going to win the East. And then you have the Chargers, you have the Texans, you have the Colts, and you have the Bills. That's it.
Yep. All right. So that is our Melvin Gordon talk. Brandon, as always, thank you for joining me. Anything you want to plug?
Yeah, check out fancyboysclub.com. My NFL Power Rankings just went live there. And next week, we are doing Pro Wrestling Week in honor of the brand new AEW TV show and NXT going to Wednesday nights, and WWE SmackDown going to Friday nights on Fox. We'll be writing quite a bit about that. You can always check me out over on footballabsurdity.com, 30-team parlay, where every week I give you the best gambling tips going into this football week.
And as always, you can see my content on footballabsurdity.com. Thank you guys for joining us, and good nights.